Hello, this is Tom with Rock Solid. In this video series, we'll be discussing how to import rate sheets, set rate sheets, configure different rates based on accounts and everything. So this video is a quick summary of what we're going to be talking about in the other linked videos before. I just wanted to go over a couple common terms and everything in this video to hopefully make sure that the other videos make more sense to everyone. So with the new year coming up, rates are going up by every carrier, and then we have to get those rates into the system. So we import the rate sheets. In past years, we had an importer where you could copy it service by service into the system and save it. This year, we have a new importer that will allow you to do a complete carrier in one time, which will make things a lot easier to import rates. I know I sometimes make mistakes and have to redo things, so hopefully this will also make things less mistake prone because I've made plenty of my own. We also have um, a new tool that allow you to set the list rates across the board. So in setting FedEx lists and you have multiple subcarriers, then it will set them across the board, not requiring you to set them on each time. So we believe these two new tools that we have will make your life a lot easier. So go on a couple terms to have thing. First is effective date. Um, in our system, when you're setting the sheets, you can set when they go live. This applies to cost sheets and list rate sheets. So it's an effective date. So I could load rates right now for DHL for 2022, but the system will not use those sheets until January 1st, which is when DHL rates go live. That makes it a lot easier than having to log in on January 1st and do everything then. And that applies for every carrier, UPS on the 26th of December, and FedEx usually is the first week of January. So a couple terminology items. On the screen, you'll see a couple words here. One is subcarrier. We allow you to load multiple rates per carrier, and we break it up by subcarrier. This is normally used for FedEx and UPS, but can apply to any carrier where you might have multiple accounts you're using that have different rate sheets. So you don't want to load FedEx cost sheets because you have multiple cost sheets. So by using a subcarrier, we can break them up into multiple things. They're all FedEx, but this could be subcarrier ABC and subcarrier DEF that have different sheets. So we're able to differentiate the two in the system. So if the customer is on the ABC account, they see ABC rates. If they're on the DEF account, they see DEF rates. So very useful if you have multiple accounts. The next is tier. Tier is very similar to subcarrier, but it was generally, or is meant for DHL. DHL in the past used to give out multiple rate sheets for different tiers, different shipment volume. You'd have tier 1, 2, and 3 sheets you would get from DHL in your reseller account. That practice has stopped in recent years. Our reseller account, we have one set of rates. We don't get three sets of rates. We just have one. Um, so we implemented tiers to be used in the system for DHL. Then we implemented the subcarrier for FedEx and UPS, and technically they're pretty much the same thing. So we do recommend just using subcarriers because we do want to retire tiers because having both doing the same thing is not necessary. So subcarriers will become the normal, and we will retire the tiers in the next few years. No rush, you'll be notified and to plan for it and everything. It's just something of a goal of mine. So another thing on the screen, you'll see that we have cost sheets where you can load your cost sheets. This is needed if you want to mark up your customer from your costs or do a margin markup or margin increase of your cost. We need to know your costs so we know how much to mark them up or increase. So we would set carrier cost sheets or cost sheets. Next is franchise cost. This is something available. You can see it's disabled on the screen. where you can set rates for your franchise or your agent or group or partner, however you divide up your group customers into different groups in the system. Um, you could have a sheet for them, and then your customers are if they're on markup or margin, or use that sheet to go up from. It's a way to lock in your costs. Like if you have multiple accounts that have different costs, you might want to start with a standardized cost and then go up from there, instead of saying one that has better ground rates versus one that has better international, and then get people confused on which one sheets are marked because you can have customers on one or the other. Um, by setting this available, you can have a set sheet. Now, what that means also is if you have a cost, say $10 for a shipment, and you set the franchise cost to be $11, that dollar difference is profit to you, it's margin to you. And then your customers are marked up from the franchise cost if they're on a markup or anything. And all margin calculations are based on the difference between the franchise cost or agent cost, partner cost, group cost, and what the customer paid. It's not based on what you were billed, but it was based on that franchise cost versus what the customer actually paid. So be aware that that is a functionality in our system. Most of it's not used, so that's why you see it's like disabled here. And next is list rates. Obviously, these are published rates by the carrier. These are the same rates for everyone because they are published rates, and rates if you were to go to a FedEx store, UPS store, or DHL location and ship, you would be charged list. So for those customers that you want to discount off a list, we need list rates loaded in order to discount from that number. So that's most of the changes, or most of the terminology. One other item is custom rate sheets. You may or may not have heard of this. Um, we have the ability to load rate sheets. They will be used by customers, assigned to a customer or customers, and that is their rate sheet. We don't do ups or downs from list or cost sheets. It's like, here's your sheet. We're using that sheet, whatever it says. In this case, for those of you that are using rock solid USPS, when we load the Platinum Plus or our CPP rates, they are a custom rate sheet, so that's what the customer is being charged. Obviously, you can charge customers more than CPP, and that is by all means you're right. But you can't charge less than CPP. So we have a custom rate sheet that's set to CPP, and that's our standard sheet. If you want to load a different sheet, you can do that as long as it's higher than CPP. Um, and that is the basic overview. Hopefully the terminology makes sense and everything. I'll now go into the next video, which will be importing rate sheets using the current or the